This is Mac OS Ken.
Foxconn works to get back to normal. Updates and updates on updates. And an icky piece of Apple history hits the auction block. I mean, just ew. It is Friday, the 11th of November, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Ladder. Smart, dynamic term life insurance. Learn more at ladderlife.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Foxconn appears ready to welcome workers back to the planet's biggest iPhone plant. A piece from the South China Morning Post says contract manufacturer and iPhone producer Foxconn is working to resume normal productivity as soon as possible at its iPhone City plant in Zhengzhou. Foxconn chairman Liu Young-wei seemed to indicate that will be helped by continued strong demand for high-end iPhones. You know, it's funny. Every statement from Apple and Foxconn carries the undercurrent. It's not you, consumer. It's me. They're not breaking up with us, though, so cool. Liu made his comments on Foxconn's third quarter earnings call. For that quarter, revenue was up 5% versus the same quarter a year earlier. Not surprisingly, revenue is going to be down a bit this quarter due to the pandemic affecting some of its operations in Zhengzhou. Really? Hadn't heard. The total lockdown for the plant and its immediate surroundings did end as scheduled on Wednesday, the 9th of November. That said, the South China Morning Post piece indicates that containment measures around the plant are still pretty fierce. We may know a bit more about why Apple has changed AirDrop in China, and that change may be coming to everyone. I told you on Thursday of a change in iOS 16.1.1 for iPhones made for the Middle Kingdom. After the update, users in the region could only leave Apple's data sharing feature AirDrop open to everyone for 10 minutes at a time. Before the update, AirDrop could be open to everyone all the time. A piece from 9 to 5 Mac had some speculating that regulators in China required Apple to update iOS as an attempt to prevent anonymous people from spreading harmful content and anti-government material. Speculation on the latter has grown louder. A report from iDownload blog highlights a couple of points from a Bloomberg piece. According to that, Bloomberg notes that Chinese users have been using AirDrop to sidestep strict online censorship by letting people share anti-government images, videos, and web links between themselves during protests. Specifically, Chinese protesters used AirDrop to distribute posters targeting China's leader, Xi Jinping, and the Chinese government. iDownload blog says Apple has not commented on why it made the change. One wonders whether it'll say why it's making the change here when it does. If it does. Bloomberg indicates that Apple will bring the shorter AirDrop for everyone to all users globally sometime in 2023. In fairness, you probably shouldn't have AirDrop open to everyone all the time. Still need to have the choice, though. Apple's week of mystery updates continues. 9 to 5 Mac ran a piece Thursday saying that the company had rolled out or was rolling out a firmware update for AirPods 2, AirPods 3, AirPods Pro, and AirPods Max. According to the piece, Build 5B58 brings bug fixes and other improvements. Oh, they would tell us what they are, but then they'd have to kill us, I guess. Or maybe our puny mortal minds wouldn't be able to handle the awesome. You cannot prompt the update. Connecting to your iPhone via Bluetooth should do it eventually. Even more shrouded in mystery is this week's firmware update for AirTag. A separate piece from 9 to 5 Mac says version 2.0.24, build number 2A24E, is out to Apple's device tracker. Sounds like a big jump. The previous version was 1.0.301, build number who cares, it's yesterday's news. Actually, it is last spring's news. Released near the end of April, Apple said the last build tuned the unwanted tracking sound to more easily locate an unknown AirTag. This time, Apple says nothing. As with the AirPods, there is no way to prompt the update for an AirTag. Instead, 9 to 5 Mac says just make sure your AirTag is in range of your iPhone, and it should automatically update after some time. If you're wondering when emergency SOS via satellite is coming to the iPhone 14 line, Apple's answer is coming soon. The Cupertino company issued a press release Thursday extolling the virtues of the service and the feats of finance and engineering that made the whole thing happen. Or will make the whole thing happen. No doubt you know what the service is, but just in case you don't, Apple says emergency SOS via satellite will allow iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro models to connect directly to a satellite, enabling messaging with emergency services when outside of cellular and Wi-Fi coverage. It is honestly a neat feature that Apple explained in depth during its Far Out Media event back in September. If you want to see it illustrated, apple.com/events. For the feat of finance, Apple says a $450 million investment from its Advanced Manufacturing Fund provides the critical infrastructure. Most of the money went to Globalstar, a global satellite service headquartered in Covington, Louisiana. The Cupertino company says its investment provides critical enhancements to Globalstar's satellite network and ground stations, ensuring iPhone 14 users are able to connect to emergency services when off the grid, when it gets turned on. The press release says it will go live for the US and Canada beginning later this month. More news in a moment, but first a word from Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance and sponsor of today's show. There are lots of things we can put off. If you need it, setting up term coverage life insurance should not be one of them. So don't wait. Choose life insurance through Ladder today. If you're worried that it's difficult, it's not. Ladder is 100% digital. No doctors, no needles, no paperwork when you apply for $3 million in coverage or less. Just answer a few questions about your health in an application that will take you less time than you will spend listening to today's show. If you're worried about the risk, don't be. There are no hidden fees, you can cancel anytime, and you can get a full refund if you change your mind in the first 30 days. There is one more reason to not put this off. The older you get, the more life insurance costs. There really won't be a better time. So go to ladderlife.com/macOSKen today to see if you are instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/macOSKen. ladderlife.com/macOSKen. Some of your old Apple gear lost value in the middle of the week. At least it did as far as Apple is concerned. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company lowered its trade-in values for select iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple Watch models in the U.S. Some of the drops were precipitous. At the start of the week, iMac Pro was sporting a trade-in value as high as $1,150. Now it only goes as high as $600. One MacBook Pro that was taking as much as $850 in trade can now only get as high as $630. Changes seem to be all over the map. Trade-in values for many phones have gone down, though they've actually gone up by $10 for iPhone XR and iPhone XS. Trade-in values for Android phones have gone down, while trading in an Apple Watch Series 3 will now net you $0. Are no longer accepted, according to Mac Rumors. You can see what your stuff is worth to Apple on the company's site. That's at apple.com/shop/trade-in. If you sense a bit of breathing room in Apple's App Store, it could be due to the 500,000 apps the company sent packing. Apple Insider cites estimates from Finbold that show the number of apps in the App Store at a 7-year low. Don't worry, there is still plenty. 1.64 million, according to the piece. Still, the report says this represents a decrease of nearly 25% since the June quarter of this year, with the site figuring Apple sent over 540,000 applications to go live on a farm. Does this mean the App Store is doomed? No, it means the App Store is pruned. Back in April 2022, the piece says, Apple issued a notice to developers saying that it would start pulling apps from the App Store that haven't been updated for a significant amount of time. And finally today, you can buy a bit of Steve Jobs history that, I'm sorry, just strikes me as gross. Apple Insider says a pair of sandals said to have belonged to the Apple co-founder is up for auction, along with an NFT of those sandals and a book with Steve Jobs in it. Apple Insider says Julian's Auctions is auctioning off the footwear. They're Birkenstock, in case you're wondering. Arizona, specifically. According to the auction site, Jobs would wear this particular pair of sandals in the 1970s and 1980s. This pair of Birkenstock sandals was previously owned by Mark Scheff, the house manager to Steve Jobs. In an article with Business Insider, Scheff states that he acquired these Birkenstocks and other items because Jobs kept very few things. We kept some, shared some with the landscapers and friends, and brought some to Goodwill. The collection we ended up with is quite random. They're like 50-year-old sandals. It just seems icky. Julian's expects the Birkenstocks to go for between $60,000 and $80,000. Bidding currently stands at $22,500. The auction ends Sunday. Good luck, I guess. Today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast, as mentioned earlier, China's new AirDrop limit may go global in 2023. TMO managing editor Jeff Butts joins me to discuss that. Plus, rumor has people inside Disney hoping that Apple will try to buy Disney. I can see why people inside Disney would like that, but is there enough in it for Apple? That is all today on the Daily Observations podcast from the Mac Observer, online at macobserver.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Ladder, smart, dynamic term life insurance. Learn more at ladderlife.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.